The news hit Earth like a supernova explosion. Zix Vemoer, the Galactic Council's lanky, purple-skinned spokesperson, cleared all three of his throats before addressing the stunned human delegates. As per Galactic Decree 7219 Beta, the substance known as coffee is hereby banned throughout all Council-controlled space. This includes Earth and its colonies. You have 30 standard cycles to dispose of all coffee-related products. Ambassador Lyra Novakis felt her jaw drop. But why? She sputtered, her hand instinctively clutching the world's best coffee addict mug on the table before her. Zix's tentacle-like appendages writhed in what humans had learned was the equivalent of a shrug. The Council has deemed it a Class 3 psychoactive substance. The decision is final. As Lyra and her team stumbled out of the Council chambers, the reality of the situation began to sink in. Humanity had only been part of the galactic community for 5 years. They'd adapted to faster-than-light travel, learned to communicate with dozens of alien species, and even started small colonies on distant worlds. But this was a bridge too far. Back on Earth, the reaction was nothing short of chaos. Jonik Brew, owner of the famous Jonik's Java chain, watched in horror as his life's work crumbled before his eyes. "They can't do this," he roared, smashing his fist against the counter. "Coffee isn't just a drink, it's a way of life." In New Jakarta, the world's largest coffee exchange erupted into a frenzy. Traders screamed into their comms, trying to offload millions of tons of suddenly illegal beans. The global economy teetered on the brink of collapse. President Adira Chandra addressed the nation, her usual composure cracking under the strain. "My fellow Earthlings, I assure you we are doing everything in our power to negotiate with the Galactic Council. But until then, we must comply or risk severe sanctions." The next few weeks were a blur of protests, hoarding, and despair. Coffee shops were shuttered, their windows plastered with going out of business signs. University campuses, usually buzzing with caffeinated students, became ghost towns. Dr. Ekan Becky, Earth's leading expert on xenobiology, worked tirelessly to find a loophole. "There must be a scientific basis for this ban," he muttered, poring over alien medical texts. "If we can prove coffee isn't harmful to other species." But as the deadline approached, hope dwindled. Enforcement ships from the Galactic Police Force entered Earth's orbit, their intimidating silhouettes a constant reminder of the new reality. On the eve of the ban, Lyra Novakis sat in her darkened office, nursing what might be her last cup of real coffee. The rich aroma filled her nostrils, and she felt tears welling up in her eyes. Her comm unit buzzed. It was Jonik Brew. "Ambassador," his voice was a harsh whisper. "I've got a proposition for you. It's risky, probably illegal, but it might be our only chance." Lyra's heart raced. "I'm listening." Jonik's plan was audacious, bordering on suicidal. But as Lyra drained the last drops from her cup, she knew they had no choice. "All right," she said, a spark of defiance igniting in her chest. "Let's do it. For coffee. For humanity." Little did Lyra know, her decision that night would set in motion a chain of events that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy. The coffee war was about to begin, and Earth wasn't going down without a fight. The Galactic Council's coffee ban hit Earth like a planet-cracking asteroid, but humanity's spirit proved far more resilient than any alien bureaucrat could have anticipated. As the last legal dregs of coffee were drained, a new underground movement began to percolate. Jonik Brew's audacious plan, dubbed Operation Dark Roast, was simple in concept but fiendishly complex in execution. Step 1. Secure coffee plants before the Galactic Police Force, GPF, could destroy them all. In the misty highlands of Nyambani, Africa's largest coffee-producing region, a covert team led by Dr. Ekan Becky worked tirelessly under the cover of night. They carefully uprooted thousands of coffee seedlings, secreting them away in specially designed stasis pods. "Careful with those Arabica variants," Ekan hissed, his usually calm demeanor frayed by lack of caffeine and the constant threat of discovery. "They're our best hope for breeding GPF-resistant strains." Meanwhile, in the sprawling megacity of Neo Sao Paulo, Former barista-turned-smuggler Luana Cortez was building a network that would make the old Earth mafias green with envy. Her coffee houses, once bustling with life, now served as fronts for a vast underground distribution system. "You want the good stuff, amigo?" Luana whispered to a twitchy customer, her eyes darting to scan for GPF drones. "Meet me at the old spaceport. Midnight. Bring creds and nerves of steel." The fledgling resistance faced challenges at every turn. GPF raids became increasingly common, and the penalties for coffee possession were draconian. Entire families were deported to off-world labor camps for the crime of hiding a single bean. Ambassador Lyra Novakis, now operating in deep cover, used her diplomatic connections to stay one step ahead of the authorities. She encrypted messages in seemingly innocuous trade agreements, each word a puzzle piece in the grand scheme to preserve Earth's caffeinated heritage. But not everyone was on board with the resistance. A vocal minority, led by the charismatic Senator Zura Kwan, advocated for strict adherence to the Galactic Council's decree. "We cannot jeopardize our standing in the galactic community over a mere beverage," Zara thundered during a clandestine Senate session. "Think of the advancements, the technologies we stand to gain if we just comply." Her words fell on mostly deaf ears. For many humans, coffee wasn't just a drink. It was a fundamental part of their identity, a liquid lifeline connecting them to centuries of tradition and culture. As months passed, the resistance grew bolder. Hidden plantations flourished in abandoned space stations and the inhospitable caverns of Mars. Jonic Brew, now sporting a rather unconvincing alien disguise, traveled the stars in a refitted cargo hauler. His ship's hold was filled not with the machine parts listed on the manifest, but with tons of precious, aromatic beans. "We've got a GPF cruiser on our 6. Jonic's pilot, a wiry woman named Fricks, called out as they approached the Jovian checkpoint. Jonic felt sweat beading on his forehead, threatening to smear his cheap purple face paint. "Hold steady," he growled. "If they catch us, it's not just prison. It's instant decaf for life." Back on Earth, Dr. Econ Becky made a startling discovery. After months of grueling research, he found that a compound unique to coffee beans had properties that could revolutionize faster than light travel. If true, it would turn the entire justification for the ban on its head. "This is IT," Econ exclaimed, his bloodshot eyes wide with excitement. "We need to get this data to Ambassador Novakis immediately." But as Econ prepared to transmit his findings, alarms blared throughout his secret lab. The GPF had finally found them. "Delete everything," Econ shouted to his team as the sound of plasma cutters slicing through the blast doors echoed through the facility. In a desperate move, he quickly swallowed a data chip containing his research, praying it would survive the journey through his digestive system. As GPF troops stormed the lab, Econ allowed himself a grim smile. They might take him, but the resistance would live on. Humanity's love for coffee had sparked a rebellion that was spreading faster than anyone could have imagined. Little did the Galactic Council know, their ban had set the stage for a conflict that would redefine the balance of power in the universe. The brewing storm was about to become a full-blown tempest in a coffee pot, and no force in the galaxy could stop it now. The capture of Dr. Econ Becky sent shockwaves through the resistance. His last transmission, a cryptic message about unlocking the cosmos through caffeine, became a rallying cry for coffee lovers across the planet. But it was the GPF's next move that finally pushed humanity over the edge. In a brazen display of force, the Galactic Police bombarded Earth's major cities with an electromagnetic pulse designed to fry every coffee maker on the planet. As millions of cherished brewers sparked and died, the simmering resentment boiled over into outright rebellion. President Adira Chandra, her patience finally exhausted, stood before the United Earth Parliament. Her voice trembled with barely contained fury as she addressed the assembled leaders and the billions watching via holofeed. "For too long, we have allowed the Galactic Council to dictate our fate. They've stolen our culture, our identity, and now they attack our very homes. I say, and no more." She paused, her eyes blazing with determination. As of this moment, Earth formally withdraws from the Galactic Council. We declare war on any force that seeks to deprive us of our right to brew. The chamber erupted in thunderous applause. Across the planet, humans cheered, raising contraband mugs in a defiant toast to freedom. Within hours, Earth's dormant military-industrial complex roared to life. Mothballed warships were hastily recommissioned, their hulls emblazoned with the new insignia of the Terran Caffeine Corps, a steaming mug superimposed over a blazing star. Admiral Kaji Yoshida, a grizzled veteran of the Mars Rebellion, took command of humanity's ragtag fleet. "Our first target," he growled to his officers, "is the GPF's primary fuel depot in the Proxima Centauri system. We'll hit him where it hurts, right in the gas tank." The audacity of the attack caught the galactic forces completely off guard. Earth ships, many of them civilian vessels hastily converted for combat, swarmed the depot. Their weapons were crude by galactic standards, but their pilots fought with the frenzied energy of the desperately undercaffeinated. "Eat laser, you coffee-hating squid faces," hooped Fricks as she piloted Jonic Brew's refitted cargo hauler, now bristling with salvaged weapon systems. Jonic, manning the guns, let out a whoop of his own as he scored a direct hit on a GPF cruiser's engines. The battle raged for hours, but when the photon dust settled, humanity had scored its first major victory. The fuel depot was captured intact, along with something far more valuable: data cores containing classified Galactic Council communications. As news of the victory spread, the resistance movement exploded into a full-blown revolution. Hidden caches of coffee were broken open and shared freely in the streets. The aroma of fresh brewed Java filled the air for the first time in months, mingling with the acrid scent of celebration pyrotechnics. But even as humanity reveled in its initial success, Ambassador Lyra Novakis pored over the captured data, her face growing pale with each decrypted file. This can't be right," she muttered, rubbing her tired eyes. "The coffee ban is not about health risks or psychoactive effects. It's about something much, much bigger." Her fingers flew over the hollow keyboard, compiling a report for President Chandra. Whatever the truth was, it was clear that humanity had stumbled into a conflict far more complex than a simple dispute over a banned substance. Meanwhile, in a maximum security GPF detention center on Titan, Dr. Econ Becky sat in his cell, an enigmatic smile playing on his lips. The data chip he had swallowed had finally emerged and now rested hidden beneath a loose tile in his cell floor. His captors had no idea that the key to faster-than-light travel, and possibly the entire justification for the war, lay just inches beneath their feet. As Econ plotted his escape, he couldn't help but chuckle at the irony. Who would have thought, he mused, that the fate of the galaxy might hinge on a humble coffee bean? Across the vast expanse of space, alien civilizations watched Earth's rebellion with a mixture of awe and trepidation. Some saw humans as reckless caffeine addicts, while others admired their tenacity. A few, those with longer memories and deeper knowledge of galactic history, recognized the opening moves of a game that had played out countless times before. In the Galactic Council's central chamber, Zix Vemoer received the news of humanity's attack with an uncharacteristic display of emotion. All three of his throats constricted in what his species would recognize as abject terror. "It's happening again," he wheezed to his fellow counselors. "They're on the path. May the cosmic winds have mercy on us all." As the council descended into panicked debate, one thing became crystal clear. The conflict that had begun over a simple cup of coffee was about to reshape the very fabric of galactic society. Humanity's caffeine crusade was just the beginning, and the universe would never be the same. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine not just the fate of coffee, but the future of entire civilizations. And somewhere in the vast, star-speckled darkness, ancient forces stirred, awakened by the scent of freshly brewed defiance. As humanity's caffeine crusade raged across the stars, Ambassador Lyra Novakis found herself at the center of a cosmic conspiracy that made the coffee ban seem like small potatoes. Holed up in a secret bunker beneath the ruins of Seattle, once the coffee capital of old Earth, she pored over the stolen Galactic Council data. Holy grounds! Lyra exclaimed, her eyes wide as she connected the dots. It's not about the coffee at all. It's about what the coffee does to us. Her findings were nothing short of earth-shattering. Coffee, it seemed, wasn't just a stimulant. It was a key that unlocked dormant potential in the human brain. Potential that, if fully realized, could elevate humanity to a level of cosmic awareness that the Galactic Council found threatening. Meanwhile, light years away, Dr. Econ Becky was orchestrating the greatest prison break in the history of Titan. Armed with nothing but a makeshift lockpick fashioned from his bed spring and a thermos of contraband cold brew, he made his daring escape. For science, Econ bellowed as he commandeered a GPF shuttle, the precious data chip clutched tightly in his fist. As alarms blared and plasma bolts sizzled past his viewport, the doctor punched in the coordinates for Earth, praying his rusty pilot skills wouldn't fail him now. Back on the front lines, humanity's ragtag fleet was facing its toughest challenge yet. Admiral Kaji Yoshida stood on the bridge of the TSS Espresso Shot, surrounded by holographic displays showing the massive galactic armada bearing down on them. "They've got us outnumbered and outgunned," his XO reported grimly. Kaji's weathered face broke into a fierce grin. But we've got something they don't, Lieutenant. We've got caffeine and crazy on our side." As if on cue, a transmission crackled through the comms. It was Jonic Brew, his voice filled with manic energy. "Admiral, we've jury-rigged our cargo hold into one massive coffee percolator. We're gonna bomb them with the good stuff?" Before Kaji could respond, Jonic's ship streaked past the flagship, leaving a trail of steaming, highly pressurized coffee in its wake. The scalding brew coated the nearest enemy vessels, gumming up their sensors and weapon systems. "Well, I'll be damned," Kaji chuckled. "All hands engage. And someone get that lunatic Jonic a medal? Or a straitjacket? Whichever comes first." The battle that followed would go down in history as the roast of Rigel Prime. Human ships darted and weaved between lumbering galactic cruisers, their unorthodox tactics leaving the enemy in disarray. But just as victory seemed within grasp, a new player entered the field. A massive ship, unlike anything seen before, winked into existence at the edge of the battle. Its hull seemed to shimmer and shift, as if it wasn't entirely present in normal space-time. "By the sacred beam," Jonic whispered, his eyes wide with awe. "What is that thing?" The mysterious vessel hung motionless for a moment, then unleashed a wave of energy that washed over the battlefield. In an instant, every engine, weapon, and power system on both sides went dark. As the fleets drifted helplessly in space, a message boomed across all frequencies, in a language that bypassed the ears and spoke directly to the mind. "Children of the cosmos, your quarrel is meaningless. The time has come for the truth to be known." On Earth, Lyra Novaki's bunker lit up with urgent transmissions. Reports flooded in from across the planet. People experiencing vivid, shared visions of an ancient race of beings, their civilization powered by something that looked suspiciously like coffee plants. As Lyra struggled to make sense of it all, her door burst open. Dr. Econ Becky stumbled in, his clothes singed and his hair wild. "Ambassador," he wheezed. "I've got it. The missing piece. Coffee isn't just a drink, it's a key." Before Lyra could respond, both of them were engulfed in a beam of shimmering light. In the blink of an eye, they found themselves standing in a vast, ethereal chamber. Around them stood representatives from every known species in the galaxy, all looking equally bewildered. At the center of the chamber hovered three beings of pure energy, their forms constantly shifting and swirling. When they spoke, it was with one voice, resonating with cosmic power. The ban was a test, and a safeguard. For eons, we have watched and waited, seeking those worthy of the knowledge we possess. Lyra and Econ exchanged glances, their minds reeling. The truth, it seemed, was far stranger and more wonderful than they could have possibly imagined. As the cosmic beings continued their revelation, one thing became crystal clear. Humanity's love affair with coffee had set in motion events that would rewrite the very laws of the universe. The age of petty galactic politics was over. A new era of cosmic enlightenment was about to begin, fueled by the most unexpected of sources, a simple cup of joe. The vast chamber hummed with an energy that seemed to vibrate at the frequency of the universe itself. Lyra Novakis and Dr. Ekan Becky stood transfixed, their minds struggling to process the cosmic revelations pouring forth from the beings of pure energy before them. Coffee, the tritone voice resonated. Is more than a beverage. It is the lifeblood of consciousness itself. Images flooded the minds of all present, eons of galactic history condensed into moments. They saw ancient civilizations rise and fall, each one touching the edge of a greater awareness before falling back into cosmic slumber. Your species, the voice continued, focusing on the human representatives, has shown remarkable resilience and ingenuity. Your devotion to this elixir has awakened potential long dormant in your kind. Ekon's eyes widened as the pieces fell into place. The compound I discovered, it's not just for faster-than-light travel, is it? A ripple of acknowledgement passed through the energy beings. IT is the key to unlocking the very fabric of reality. Meanwhile, back in normal space, the disabled fleets drifted in confused silence. Admiral Kaji Yoshida, his uniform stained with spilled emergency rations coffee, managed to restore partial power to the TSS Espresso Shots comms. This is Admiral Yoshida to all vessels. He broadcast on all frequencies. Stand down and await further instructions. I repeat, stand down. Across the vast battlefield, weapons powered down as confusion gave way to an uneasy truce. Jonik Brew, his face pressed against the viewport of his battered ship, watched in awe as pinpricks of light began to appear among the stars. More of the shimmering vessels emerging from the cosmic depths. Back in the ethereal chamber, the cosmic beings were reaching the crescendo of their revelation. The ban was a test, and you have passed. Your willingness to fight for this knowledge, even without fully understanding it, proves your readiness. Lyra stepped forward, her diplomatic instincts kicking in despite the overwhelming situation. Readiness for what, exactly? The response came not in words, but in a vision that seared itself into the minds of all present. They saw the galaxy as it truly was, a vast, interconnected web of consciousness, with currents of energy flowing between stars and planets like cosmic synapses. And at the heart of it all, powering this galactic nervous system, was a familiar molecular structure. Caffeine. Ekon breathed, his scientific mind racing with the implications. It's been the key all along. But why the deception? Lyra pressed. Why ban coffee if it's so important? A sense of cosmic amusement rippled through the chamber. Some truths must be earned to be truly valued, and some powers are too great to be given freely. Understanding dawned on the assembled representatives. The coffee ban hadn't just been a test of humanity's resolve. It had been a safeguard against the knowledge falling into the wrong hands. As the cosmic beings prepared to impart their final revelations, a commotion erupted at the edge of the chamber. Zix Vamoer, the Galactic Council spokesperson, burst through the crowd, his purple skin flushed with exertion. "Wait," he cried out, all three of his throats working in panicked harmony. "You can't just give them this knowledge. Do you have any idea how much paperwork this will involve?" A ripple of laughter passed through the assembled beings, starting with the humans and spreading to even the most stoic of alien species. The cosmic beings themselves seemed to pulse with mirth, their energy forms shimmering with something akin to joy. Bureaucracy. IT seems, is truly a universal constant. They chimed, their tone lighter than before. With a gesture that transcended physical space, the beings began to impart their knowledge. Each representative felt their mind expanding, filling with understanding that went beyond mere facts or figures. They saw the true nature of reality, the underlying code of the universe, and the role that coffee, that humble earth beverage, played in it all. As the cosmic download completed, Lyra turned to Ekon, her eyes wide with wonder. "So, what do we do now?" Ekon grinned, the excitement of discovery written all over his face. Now we brew the best damn cup of coffee the universe has ever tasted. In the days and weeks that followed, the galaxy underwent a transformation unlike any in its history. The coffee ban was lifted, replaced by a new galactic barista corps dedicated to cultivating and sharing the enlightening brew. Earth, once a backwater planet, became the center of a new cosmic renaissance. Jonic Brew's interstellar coffee shops spread across the stars, each one a beacon of caffeinated enlightenment. Admiral Yoshida hung up his uniform, trading it for the apron of a master roaster. And Zix Vamor, much to everyone's surprise, discovered a hidden talent for latte art that made him the toast of the galactic coffee scene. As for Lyra and Econ, they embarked on a grand tour of the cosmos, seeking out new blends and spreading the gospel of the sacred bean. Their adventures would become the stuff of legend, told and retold in coffee shops across 100,000 worlds. And so, what had begun as a simple ban on a beloved beverage ended up reshaping the very foundations of galactic society. The universe, it turned out, ran on coffee, and humanity had just placed a standing order for a refill that would last until the end of time. As the story of the Great Coffee Crusade spread across the stars, a new saying began to circulate among the diverse species of the galaxy. In the grand cafe of existence, humanity finally found its perfect blend.